we live.
Breakfast with Donna Alos.
BBC Radio Derby.
It is now 7 minutes to 8. Transgender cyclist Emily Bridges was due to be competing against the likes of five-time Olympic champion Laura Kenny at National Omnium Championships at the Derby Arena on Saturday. Now, that was until cycling's governing body, the UCI, announced last night that she was not eligible to participate under the current guidelines. The 21-year-old came out as transgender in October 2020 and has been undergoing hormone therapy to lower the levels of testosterone in her body. Well, David Bradford is the fitness editor from Cycling Weekly and has interviewed Emily in the past. David, a very good morning to you.
Morning, Donna.
David, first of all, what's your reaction to last night's announcement?
Oh, just very, very regrettable, Donna. I find it really quite hard to understand, how we've got to this situation where, at the 11th hour, the UCI kind of quite inexplicably step in and decide that suddenly, after a week of intense scrutiny on Emily, suddenly she's unable to compete despite having complied with the rules and faced intense scrutiny for, the past 12 months. It just seems that they're kicking the can down the road. They don't want to deal with this problem right now. And yeah, it's really, really a bit of a mess, to be honest.
David, I think it's fair to say there was a bit of a backlash against Emily in the papers and on social media yesterday when it was announced that she would be competing. Do you think that's a factor in the decision?
It's hard to avoid drawing that conclusion. Obviously, I don't know exactly what has gone on behind the scenes, but that there has been as you will know, a big sort of outpouring of comment in the tabloids, online. And yeah, it's hard to avoid drawing that conclusion.
David, it looks like it took British cycling by surprise. What have they had to say about this?
As far as I know, British cycling, it's kind of been taken out of their hands, so that they obviously introduced their policy some time ago. Ironically, I think they were following the UCI's policy on that, so they had the same rules there, which they were implementing with regards to Emily, which Emily was complying with. They were satisfied that she'd followed those rules. And then, as I say, at the 11th hour, suddenly there's this change of mind on what they're saying is a technicality, that she's not actually registered yet as a female rider. But, that seems very difficult to understand when they must have been aware of her, wish to compete at this race for some time at least.
Now, David, you're sort of in the middle. You know all the cyclists. I know you interview lots of them. How have other female cyclists been feeling about Emily competing? Are you finding that some of the female competitors are feeling threatened by transgender athletes?
I know there are concerns out there. I think there's also a lot of support, and unfortunately that's the side that you don't hear. But, I've heard from Emily, she's actually heard from a lot of female cyclists who've been very, very supportive towards her. So, yes, there are concerns. I'm absolutely not writing off those concerns. They're legitimate. Every right for those concerns to be heard, to be taken very seriously. But it is a mixed picture. There are two sides to the story, in that there are, there's lots of support as well as the concerns.
David, some people listening could argue that Emily could have an unfair advantage over female athletes. I understand about the testosterone and stuff, but at the end of the day, physiology as well plays a part, and hormones as well. Can you understand those people's concerns?
Absolutely. The concerns there are, as I say, they are completely understandable. But I think we also have to take very seriously the case for inclusion. At the moment, what we've ended up with right now with regards to this race is de facto exclusion. And I think what we're talking about here is a massively underrepresented, marginalised minority. And we've got to think about what are the effects, what are the ramifications of exclusion, as well as what are the possible outcomes from inclusion. We need to be brave to hold both ideas in our minds at the same time and take them both incredibly seriously, because that what the outcomes, what's at stake is incredibly important on both sides.
David, finally, what do you think will happen next? Obviously, early this month, we saw American transgender swimmer Leah Thomas winning that US National College title, which sort of erupted all around the world and has sort of made people ask questions and sort of just be more aware of what is actually happening. Do you think there'll come a point, David, where sport will have to create new categories for trans athletes?
I don't know what the ultimate solution will be. What's very clear at this stage is there needs to be lots of work in terms of the science, in terms of the policy making, lots of careful thought, so that what we do end up going with is kept to, and we don't end up with another situation like this where rules are set and then reneged on. Because I just think that it's absolute worst case for both, on both sides. Really, it's not helping anyone. So yeah, exactly what we end up with is at the moment open. And I think I just urge people to be patient, to see both sides, and to realise this is going to take time, a lot of work to actually get to that satisfactory outcome that is satisfactory on both sides.
Well, David, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Real great insight there. David Bradford, the fitness editor from Cycling Weekly. A very good morning to you. It is BBC Radio Derby. It's Thursday, March the 31st, and it is snowing. Loads of reports of it's snowing in various places. It's definitely snowing in Ripley this morning. It's snowing here in the city centre. We've also got, where else was it? Sinfin as well. Bev said there are big flakes of snow in Sinfin this morning. Feel free to keep me up to date on Snowwatch. 81333. Start your message with the word Derby, and also your puns this morning. It is a National Eiffel Tower Day. Who knew there was such a day? And so this morning we are asking for your puns to do with landmarks. Think of all those incredible places around the world, and then all you have to do is a song title, an album, an artist, a band, whatever, and get them into me now. You can call on 0800 145 6161.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
Play BBC Radio Derby.
and on your radio.
The sound of where we live is
BBC Radio Derby.
At 8, with the latest BBC News, I'm Sam.